Imagine being a child, half asleep on the couch, when you hear your porch swing moving outside in the middle of the night. You look out the window and see a woman covered in blood, holding a knife, staring back at your house. When you're a child, nights feel bigger than they really are. The shadows stretch longer, and the house sounds louder, and the world feels like it's holding secrets just outside your window. When I was little, weekends were my favorite time in the world. My parents had a simple rule. On Friday and Saturday nights, I could stay up as late as I wanted watching TV until I fell asleep. To me, that felt like freedom. I'd curl up on the couch with a blanket, the soft glow of the television lighting the living room, the rest of the house dark and quiet as everyone else went to bed. I loved the feeling of being the last one awake, like I had the whole world to myself. But one night, that feeling changed forever. It was late, the kind of late where the TV volume feels louder because the house is silent. My eyes were heavy, barely open, drifting in and out of sleep. That's when I heard it. A slow, rhythmic creaking sound. Back and forth. Back and forth. At first, my sleepy brain tried to ignore it, but something about the sound felt wrong. Too steady, too deliberate. It was coming from the front porch. We had an old wooden porch swing that always made a soft creak when someone sat on it. But nobody should have been there. A cold knot formed in my stomach as I slowly sat up, the blanket slipping off my shoulders. The living room felt different now, heavier, like the air itself was listening. I slid off the couch and quietly walked toward the bay windows, my heart beating faster with each step. Part of me didn't want to look, but I did. Outside, under the dim porch light, the swing moved gently back and forth, and sitting on it was a woman. She looked older, maybe in her 50s. Her hair hung messy around her face, and she wore nothing but a thin nightgown. At first, my brain couldn't understand what I was seeing. Then I noticed the dark stains. Blood. It covered her gown, smeared across her arms, dripping down her legs. In her hand, she held a huge kitchen knife. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't move. She just sat there, rocking slowly, staring straight ahead. Then her head turned slightly toward the window, toward me. Something inside me snapped. I screamed. I turned and ran as fast as I could down the hallway to my parents' bedroom, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it might explode. I burst through the door, sobbing, trying to speak but unable to form words. My parents jolted awake, confused and alarmed. "What's wrong?" my mom asked, sitting up quickly. I tried to explain, but the words came out broken between gasps and tears. "There's a woman outside. Blood. Knife." My dad sighed, already frustrated, his voice heavy with sleep. "You had a nightmare," he said firmly. "Go back to bed." But I shook my head violently, crying harder. "No, she's real. She's on the porch." The more I insisted, the angrier he became, convinced I was just scared from a bad dream. Finally, he grabbed my arm. "Fine," he said. "I'll show you there's nothing there." He dragged me down the hallway despite my screams and desperate attempts to pull away. Every step toward the front door filled me with pure terror. I didn't want to see her again. I didn't want him to open that door. But he did. He unlocked it and swung it open confidently. "See, there's nothing..." He stopped. To this day, I've never seen fear like that on my father's face. His expression froze, his eyes wide with shock, because she was still there, and she had turned to look directly at us. Slowly, she stood up, still holding the knife. My dad slammed the door shut instantly and locked it, his breathing suddenly fast and shallow. "Call the police," he told my mom, his voice tight. He ran to get his shotgun. I stood frozen, my entire body trembling as reality crashed down on me. This wasn't a nightmare. She was real. Dad returned with a 12-gauge shotgun and carefully cracked the door just enough to point the barrel outside. "What are you doing here?" he called out. Her voice came through the night, shaky and distant. "Somebody killed my husband," she said. "But it wasn't me." The words hung in the air like fog. Dad told her the police were on their way. That's when she suddenly panicked. She gripped the knife tighter, then turned and walked away into the darkness. The police found her 15 minutes later, trying to break into a neighbor's house. That was the last we ever saw of her. But the story didn't end there. Later, my parents learned she had been off her medication. She and her husband had fought, and she attacked him with the knife before hurting herself. Either trying to end her life or make it look like he had attacked her. No one ever told us the full truth. Only fragments, only whispers. But one thing was certain. After that night, I never slept in the living room again. And even now, years later, whenever I hear the faint creak of a swing moving in the wind, I still feel that same cold knot in my stomach. Because sometimes, the things you see as a child aren't nightmares. They're memories.